guys, welcome back. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, it's Sahara. So today's video, I'm going to be doing this bluish, greenish, purplish look today. It's all of the above, and it has my favorite color, like a neon green for liner in the crease. And let's just get started. So I'm going to start off by using both the Morphe and Milani eyeshadow primers. I'm using both of these because I don't use regular translucent eyeshadow primers anymore. So I was like, while I'm using them, I might as well just double up and use both. But they are both just like this tacky primer, and they help the eyeshadow stick well. But I like to go in with a primer that's more like a concealer. Well, a concealer that's more like a primer, so it can like really cover up the eyes and prime at the same time. I'm going to start off with the Morphe 25L palette, and starting off with that shade called Milk, which is a matte white. I'm going to apply that to the brow bone. Like I always say, applying a white eyeshadow just makes sure that it goes on and looks really, really smooth rather than using a shimmer shade. And it looks really good in the inner corner too. Then I'm going to go into that shade called SF, which is like this, I don't know what kind of color that is, but it's really, really pretty. And I'm just going to apply that in the inner corner. Well, not in the inner corner, in a crease part, and I'm gonna wing it out towards the end too. And it's like a matte eyeshadow, but it has like specks of shimmer running through it, but the shimmer shades don't show at all when you blend them out. Then I'm going to go in with this Flower Beauty That's So Cold eyeliner. It is like this beautiful blue, and the packaging matches my nails, and it matches my earrings, and I just had to show it off. But anyway, this eyeliner is very, very creamy on the eyes, and it glides on so well. You guys can see that. It is not as blue as the packaging is. It is like a softer blue, but it's still very pigmented, and it's going to be a base for the eyeshadow that I'm going to apply. But I'm going to apply this eyeliner in more of like a winged out shape. I'm also not going to press it in or blend it in. I'm going to keep it as is. So then I'm going to go back into the Morphe 25L palette and using that matte purple called Truth. Now, this matte purple is a lot darker than I was expecting it to be. I thought it was going to be like a blue purple, but I don't seem to have a blue purple matte eyeshadow. If you guys know what I'm talking about, it's like a very vibrant eyeshadow, and it has both of those tones in there. This one still ends up working out anyway, but I'm not going to apply it in the inner part where the blue is at. I'm mostly going to keep it in the middle and on the outer part to keep that the darkest. Then I'm just going back in with that brush that I used earlier just to kind of blend these together. And then I'm going to use that shimmer from the Morphe palette called Harmony. And it's definitely like a duochrome blue purple shade. That's the vibe I'm going with today, if you guys didn't know. Didn't notice that. It's like a bluish purple tone. And I'm applying that only on the center part of the lid. I'm not applying it on the inner part, and I'm not applying it on the outer part where I winged it out, only mostly in the center. And I'm using my finger so it's not as opaque as the other shimmers that I apply, but it still has those colors. Now I'm going to move into the Bad Habit Cult Mystere palette. I'm going to use those two baked eyeshadows called Kintsugi and Maiko. So Maiko, the one that I'm showing now, is a blue purple, and Kintsugi is like a green gold. So I'm applying Maiko first, and that's just going on the center like a spotlight eye type of thing. And then I'm applying Kintsugi on top of that, but even more in the center, like a thinner line, just for like a pop of green, and using my fingers to kind of blend all of those shades in together. Then I'm going to use the NYX Jumbo eyeshadow base in the shade Milk. I always do this step and apply it on the back of my hand. And then I'm going to apply some of the Milani Make It Last setting spray. This is just going to make it more of a liquid because it is a cream formula. And I always do this step anytime I'm doing some sort of liquid liner that I need a white base, and then I tap eyeshadow on top of it. I still haven't found a white liquid liner yet, and I still haven't found a neon green liquid liner either, so I'm looking for both of those. But for now, this is just how I create any liquid liner look that I want. So I'm just going to apply this in the crease with a very thin, fine liner brush. And then I'm going to go into the Revolution Color Book number 5, and I'm going to swatch that neon green shade, and then I'm going to go into the BH Cosmetics Take Me to Brazil palette. I always said I would never bring that BH Cosmetics palette back out because I was using it nonstop, but I just brought it back out. So I'm just swatching both of the greens, and I seen that the one from the BH Cosmetics palette was brighter. So then I'm just going to use a thin rounded small brush. This one is from the BH Cosmetics Rose Gold set. I don't know which one the other liner brush was from, but this one right here, I'm just tapping that on top of the white eyeliner, and it came out like a nice neon green. The only thing is with this is that it can crack, and it also can start separating as well. That's the only thing that really sucks, which is why I need a liquid liner, but I do what I can. I'm going to do the same steps for the waterline, and this was worse than trying to apply that in the crease because it kept going in my eyes kept watering, and it kept making it patchy. Whenever I tapped the green eyeshadow on top of this white eyeliner, most of it would go patchy because my eyes was tearing up. But like I said, I'm doing the best I can. I need to look for some eyeliners too, some eyeliners that can go on the waterline instead of trying to always tap eyeshadow because that goes in the eyes and it is just bad. For eyelashes, I'm going to go in with the Ioni in a Style Wispy Dramatic Flare, and I'm using this Eye Envy 3D Hold. It's supposed to be a strong hold, clear lash glue. I usually use the Ioni lash glue, but I bought 2 of those recently, and the packaging changed. It's not a clear tube anymore. It's a tube that you can't see, and the Ioni lash glue is from the Dollar Tree. Both of the lash glues I bought from Ioni were dried out, and I never experienced that before, so I'm not going to purchase any more Ioni lash glue, but I still love their lashes, so I decided to go to the beauty supply store and try out this lash glue. It was really good, but it doesn't have that strong super hold like it's talking about. It's just a regular lash glue, but it's pretty good. For primer, I'm going to be going in with the Too Faced Hangover Replenishing Primer. I got a sample of this from Ulta when I bought some stuff from Ulta the other week, and look at how this primer came out of the packaging. I couldn't get it open for nothing, and it just came flying out all over my stuff, and I had to put it on my face anyway. But I got this primer as a sample. I almost forgot to wipe off the eyeshadow, so I'm just using this Biore makeup remover. It's the charcoal one, I think. And but anyway, this primer is really good. I have not used it in a long time. I used to have the little sample tube size, but I haven't gone back to buy it because I'm still using so many other primers that I need to get rid of before I start like repurchasing favorites and things. But this product is still really good, and it's really hydrating, and it still smells of coconut. Going in with the Hard Candy Primer Mist to prime the face. I love using a mist before foundation. For foundation, I'm going to go in with a mixture of the Wet n Wild Original Foundation in the shade Toffee and the newest Wet n Wild Dewy Foundation in the shade Desert Beige. The Desert Beige one is a medium dark warm, and the Toffee one is a medium deep neutral. Since I have a neutral undertone, and listen, I got both of these in the wrong shade anyway, so I'm just mixing them both together to hurry up and get rid of them. I'm going to go in with the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer in a shade Medium 100W. And I haven't used this concealer in a long time. It's a really good concealer. Has that medium coverage. Could be light and buildable, but medium to full is usually what I like in my concealer. Lately, I've been noticing that doing that trend where you apply it in the inner part of the under your eye and then drag it out for a lifted look, I noticed that that's giving me less coverage, and my under eye dark circles are showing up more with makeup on. So I need to stop doing that trend and go back to the way we used to apply concealer, which I need more of it. But anyway, I'm just going to blend this out with this sponge. Then I'm going to use my favorite cream bronzer. This is the cream bronzer by Milk Makeup in the shade Blaze. I'm using it with this small brush that I got from Hard Candy. This is probably the best brush that I've ever used to apply cream contour because it's small enough to apply it, but I don't know why I drew it in that shape like that, but it's small enough to apply the product in the right spots, but it's big enough to blend it out with that brush if I wanted to blend it out with it. I don't know, it's just something about this brush and I keep going back to it. I don't think they sell this brush separately, which sucks because I would buy it separately, but I did get it in that makeup kit that I got from the Dollar Tree that I showed you guys in that video. I think it was last year. It came with that brush and I've been using it ever since. Then I'm just blending it out with that same foundation sponge that I use. Blending it out with the same sponge that has the foundation on it just makes sure it blends out more natural and it doesn't leave it looking harsh. I'm going to use the P.s I Luxury Banana Powder, and I'm going to use this to set all over the face, and I'm going to tell you guys why I haven't used it in a while, but I just pour it out in my hand because I have nowhere else to put it. But I haven't used it in a while because this powder, if you don't use like a hydrating concealer, like the ColourPop one that I use is really good for a powder like this, but this powder usually tightens up under the eyes if you apply too much and if you apply a more matte concealer. But right now it didn't feel like that. It was really nice on the skin, but I applied it under the eyes with the sponge and then on the rest of the face with a brush. For powder bronzer, I'm going to go in with the Morphe Trailblazer Glamour Blondes Glam Bronze Bronzer. Wow, that was a mouthful. I'm going to go in with that and setting with the same brush that I use with the setting powder. I'm just going to bronze up the face with this. I love this bronzer as well. It's so nice and smooth. I forgot how well these bronzers are. Like, these are my favorite bronzers. And I plan on getting like 7 more bronzers probably. But I'm also going to use this to blend on the nose too. And I'm using this smaller brush. This one, the other one was from Eco Tools, but this one is from BH Cosmetics, the gold set. And this one is really nice for nose contour. At first, I didn't plan on glowing. Oh my gosh, what is happening? On going in with blush, but I'm using this shade called Pride from the Morphe 25L palette. It is like this pale orange, and it was really pretty. I kept it on the higher points of the cheeks because, like I said, I didn't plan on applying blush, and I haven't been really liking blush lately. For highlighter, I'm going in with the Fenty Beauty Me Money and Hustler Baby highlighter, one of my favorites. And I love this one because it is like this champagne gold tone, but it almost, in certain light, pulls a little bit more like a green tone, just slightly. I don't want anybody to be like, I use that highlighter, there's no green tone, but listen, there's like this goldish, slightlish. Okay, I'm done. And then I'm going to go into the Revolution Color Book palette. I'm using that dark matte blue and I'm applying that on the lower lash line, but I'm focusing it on the inner and outer part of the lower lash line, not taking it all the way across. I'm going to go back into Maiko and Kintsugi, and I'm going to spray this small definer brush from Morphe, and yeah, I got it on my eyeshadow palette, and I didn't want to get on my eyeshadow palette because I don't want it to mess the shimmers up, but it only got on the mirror anyway. But I'm going to apply Maiko, which is that blue-purple. I'm going to apply it all across the lower lash line, focusing most of the product where I did not apply that matte blue, but I'm still taking it all the way across on the lower lash line. And then I'm going to go back in with Kintsugi and I'm just focusing that on the center of the lower lash line, like how I applied it in that spotlight kind of eye on the lid. I'm applying that on the lower lash line. So I also took Kintsugi, which is that green gold, and applied it in the inner corner, which was a mistake because it's too dark to apply in the inner corner. Whenever I'm doing like a colorful look, something like this, or even more colorful, I never know what to put in the inner corner or on the lower lash line. I always struggle with those two. So I'm going to start off with this and then I'll end up fixing it. Then I took from the Morphe 25L palette that white matte eyeshadow called Milk and tapped it on top. I thought it would brighten it, but this eyeshadow is so pigmented, it turned it white. But then I'm going to go in with this other eyeshadow from the Morphe 25L palette. It's called Liberation. And it's like, oh, it just looks so pretty. It looks white in the eyeshadow palette, but it has like this green shift, and I apply that in the inner corner, which looks so much better. For mascara, I'm going to take the Maybelline Snap Mascara in Deja Blue, and I'm only applying that on the lower lashes. I forgot to apply nose highlighter, so I just took the shade Liberation that was still on the brush and applied it on the nose. And like I said, it has that green shift, but I love when I have like a highlighter that has that green shift. It just looks so pretty. Then I'm going to spray my face with the Milani Make It Last, and look at all of those dots that came off on my face. I should have shook it before I sprayed it, but look at all of those dots under my eyes. It tried to come for me and mess my makeup up. For lips, I'm going to start off with the Black Radiance lip liner. This is the dual-sided lip liner, and I don't know the shade, but it's like a deep brown. Usually I use my KKW Beauty in the shade Nude 2, but that one wasn't going to be dark enough for the look I was trying to go for, so I went in with this one. For lipstick, I went in with the LA Colors lip color in the shade Incognito, which has become my favorite nude lipstick. It's like a pale peachy tone, but it looks so good with brown lip liner. To top it off, I'm going to use this Wet n Wild Mega Last Liquid Catsuit. It's a high shine lipstick in the shade Sin Nudes. Okay, I thought it was a lip gloss. Now that I'm over here reading it, it says high shine lipstick. I was wondering why it wasn't more glossy, but it still worked out. It's definitely not a glossy formula, but it does have that high shine. It's what it says it is, honestly. Now I'm just gonna go back in with a little bit more of that lip liner to make it more ombre. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.